Welcome to Win the Day from Back to the Bible. I'm your coach, Pastor Nat, and today we're going to answer the question, what will God do with you? When is 90% as effective as 100%? The answer? Oh, when God is involved. I have seen many times that God has multiplied resources in ways I never could. Whether through the generosity of others, the discovery of lost resources, or through the supernatural grace of God, God can multiply the limited into the limitless. Don't believe me? Let's continue our study of the book of John, beginning in John chapter 6, verse 5. Lifting up his eyes then, and seeing that a large crowd was coming toward him, Jesus said to Philip, "Where are we to buy bread so that these people may eat?" He said this to test him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread would not be enough for each of them to get a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "Well, there's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are they for so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down, about 5,000 in number. Jesus then took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated. So also the fish, as much as they wanted. This is probably the most known miracle from the life of Jesus. The crowds are coming to see him, to see this miracle worker. But they're not interested in his teaching on the kingdom or salvation. They want the miracles. Well, Jesus says, okay, they're here. It's true, they really don't want me, they want a sign. Well, disciples, they're hungry, so let's feed them. Jesus turns to Philip and tests him. Philip was a slow learner in the upper room. He asked Jesus to show them the Father. And Jesus says, "Come on, Philip. How long have you been with me? You've been with me for a long time, but you still just don't get it." But Philip, if we're honest, he's no different than us today. When the air conditioner breaks, we look at the credit card to see how much credit we have. We count the days till payday. We make sure that it's not a weekend for those overtime charges. When the diagnosis comes in, we say, "Okay, doc, how long do I have? What are the options? Will insurance even cover this?" Philip is short-sighted and practical. So are we. Philip says, "Look, Jesus, I can see the crowds, 5,000 men, and probably an additional 10 to 15,000 women and children. So even these $200, they're not going to cover the food." Now, to be honest, this was about 8 months worth of pay. I mean, it's a big catering bill. But they find a boy. They find a boy who has 5 loaves and 2 fish. Now, we have to understand, these aren't loaves of challah bread or French loaves, big loaves of bread. These are just little barley cakes. Think of them like rice cakes. He also has 2 fish. These aren't 20-pound catfish or a 500-pound tuna. These are just little panfish. Do you see, this is a true miracle that he invites the disciples to participate in. This is one of those teaching moments for the disciples. The disciples are distributing these resources to the 15 to 20,000 people. They are seeing the miracle before their own eyes. And John writes, as much as they wanted. In other words, these people were stuffed. Jesus multiplied the little to care for the lot. Jesus can and will do amazing things in and through us. He can and will multiply the faith and resources if we let Him. So here's my challenge for you today. Give Him what you have. Jesus will take the 90% and spread it to the 100% if you let Him. What is it that you need in your life? Don't hold back your resources from God. He wants to use you. He wants your time, your talent, and your treasures. They are all valuable to God. I mean, think about it. God used just a small boy and a small meal to feed 20,000 people. Just imagine what God can do with you if you let Him.